Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. This is the third video of the series. We've completed the spot correction. The rest of the painted surfaces we're going to enhance. And we can normally increase the gloss 15 to 20% from the factory finish. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. You'll notice the readings are all over the place. And I often get that on sports cars, supercars. Not uncommon to see on some of the more expensive vehicles. It just makes you aware that when you jump from panel to panel, you may have to change up your correction style. But as long as you have a paint taps gauge that you can keep track of what you're removing, you'll be perfectly fine. When it comes to gloss, we're low to mid 90s, and we're going to be aiming for the usual triple digits before this vehicle leaves. For the enhancement, we're going to be using the Built Hamber Cleanser Polish. Team that up with one of my favorite pads for bringing out some extra gloss and depth and clarity, and that's the Car Pro Gloss Pad. And we'll put that on a 15mm throw polisher, and we'll just go around the car rather quickly. This step here barely removes any measurable clear coat, so this is great on a car like this. It's also great on a vehicle that has thin, older, trouble clear coat as well. This product does have the Built Hamber Cleanser Polish, a bit of filling capability. So if you have trouble clear coat that you want to hide a couple spots, you may want to leave the fillers there. On a vehicle like this, we're going to follow up with a panel prep. And I'm taking advantage of the fine abrasives within the polish when it comes to this team for the most part. When it comes to polishing, we get absolutely all of the painted surfaces on this vehicle. That means under the wing, inside the trunk, the hood, the door jambs, absolutely everywhere. And that is for a dual purpose. I'll get into that a little bit later. Even in the lid of the gas cap, there's some water spots to remove, and we'll polish them out, but that's not the only reason we're polishing in here and inside the door jambs and on the underneath of the trunk or the frunk. And that's because we're going to be laying down paint protection film on most of this vehicle, and we don't want any lines, so we're going to be wrapping the film around the edges. And when you polish, paint protection film likes to stick to those surfaces just a little bit better. So, in about a day, day and a half, we've perfected all of the painted surfaces and we can move on. For me, next, that's going to be the wheels in this case. And that may be a little bit out of order compared to the way we normally do things, but when the lift is tied up, you have to adapt. And look at the size of the rear wheel and tire. Absolutely amazing. This thing is a twin turbo. It needs all the traction it can get. But We're going to get on to protecting the wheels. They've already been cleaned and washed outside. I like to follow up with the panel prep to make sure there's no film or residue left behind. The wheels were pulled. They're going to look fantastic from lip to lip, and that includes cleaning and coating the barrel of the wheel and the back of the spokes. They're ready to be protected, and we bring in the Apex Surface Protection Wheel Coating. This is a track grade wheel coating, able to withstand high temperatures up to 800 to 1,000 degrees. The coating will last a minimum of 2 years, depending on how often you track your vehicle. Coat your wheels and coat your calipers with it. It's a viscous coating compared to, as you saw when it's next to the bottle of the Art to Shine coating. It is a thick, viscous coating. Get it on the whole wheel before you start to wipe it off. I'll put it in the barrel, I'll put it behind the spokes, turn it around, coat the face of the wheel, and then it's time to start to wipe off the entire wheel. Give it some time to bond. It is a tenacious coating. This is the latest addition to our lineup. This one here is a bit too thick to be sprayed. I will have an industrial coating coming out that can be sprayed, that can be applied to wheels, but also is designated for equipment, farm equipment, industrial equipment. It's an excellent way to break out from the auto industry when it comes to surface protection with coatings. I'm going to go into it further. I'm also going to offer training to get into that subcategory, so stay tuned. We are all now protected. The gloss is already starting to set in. You want to let this cure for a good 24 hours before you let the wheels get wet. After that, they can get wet. You just don't want to wash it for the next week. I was never really satisfied with wheel coatings, the ones that I've tried, and I have tried many. My personal vehicles, when they finally do get driven hard. They're not babied. So I needed a wheel coating that would last, that can withstand the higher temperatures, that can withstand track temperatures. And this coating does just that. Also excellent for the calipers. By the way, also awesome for exhaust tips, motorcycle exhausts, and anywhere that's near high temperature situations on an automobile or motorcycle. After all four wheels getting a nice thick layer and the calipers, this is all we have used, and that will give you an idea of how many sets of wheels and calipers you can do with that bottle. Yeah, I'll get everything prepped a while for the. And again, while I have the chance, let me show you the stagger and the outstanding size of this rear tire compared to the front tire and wheel. As those calipers and wheels cure, we can work on the PPF, the entire front clip, the mirrors, the lower rockers, and the wheel wells in the rear are going to be covered and protected with paint protection film. We use Flexi Shield, and we are ready to break out the kit and get applying. We like to apply paint protection film by bulk and by the kit. By bulk is fun, doing your own cutting and trimming, but when you get a kit, you save a lot more film that way as well, so we combine the two. Now, it's already been gone over with a panel prep. I'm going to hit it one more time with Geon Prep to make sure there's no polish residues or really anything that could have landed on the car while we were attending to other surfaces. I like to pay attention to the edges and the corners and the ends of the panels where we're going to be tucking the PPF or the film in and around. I like to clean that with either acetone or straight up alcohol to make sure those surfaces are perfectly clean, especially on a car that's been driven compared to a new car like this. But I still like to go over it and make sure those edges stick. The car's ready, and so is the shop. Beforehand, we pull the car out and we'll sweep it up, we'll vac it up, we'll mop it, we'll spray the floors down, and you're probably asking what the hell I'm doing here. We're running a lint roller over ourselves just to make sure there's no lint or puppy hair. I'll even run it on my arm to get the arm hair off. I do not want one speck of dust or dirt or hair or lint or anything to get on the surfaces before the film is laid down. We also really soak down the panel, squeegee it off, and then lay down the film, such as we're doing here. The hood has been soaked with slip solution that is a combination of baby shampoo and water, so the film can float on top. As you can see, I'm adjusting the whole film, the whole hood, to line up properly. We want to perfectly line up that film, and to have it floating on the slip solution, it makes it easy to do that. And then I'll lift it up, get the tack solution, which is a combination of isopropyl alcohol and water. That will kind of flush out that soapy water so you can tack down the film and move on. I'll then move to each back corner, start in the middle, work my way out, and squeegee out all of the air and water from under that film, and the film lays down, tacks nicely to the panel, and looks gorgeous. I like to keep the film floating on the surface until I'm ready to tack it down, and also you can flush out any dust or maybe lint from a microfiber or anything that could have fallen from the air, just floating in the air onto the surface of the hood while we were transporting the film from our film panel or table to the surface. You could flush it free. We're using our hands first just to remove some of the bigger and deeper air pockets and water pockets, and we'll follow up with the squeegee. I then like to liberally spray the slip solution on top of the film, and that way it gives me plenty of lubrication when I'm using the squeegee, so it doesn't damage the film as I'm doing so. We now have 3 that are certified here to apply PPF working on our 4th. 2 of us have quite a bit of experience, and 2 of us are working on that experience. If you're looking to get some paint protection film laid down to protect your vehicle from rock chips, give us a call. By the way, you absolutely can wrap a whole vehicle, and you can do it yourself. It's a little bit more complicated, can take a little bit longer. You have to be more careful. With the extra set of eyes, with a little bit of help, you can be a little bit more efficient and maybe catch things you normally wouldn't if you were by yourself. Yeah, so basically what you see us doing to the hood is what we're going to be doing to a large majority of the panels on this vehicle. We're going to let it then sit for a few hours and let some of these edges dry out a bit so we can tuck them around, wrap them around, No lines, a beautiful seamless transition from the paint protection film areas to the areas that will just be coated. I'll get into that more as we get into the fourth video of the series. So that will wrap up the third video of the series. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you have any questions at all on the process, don't hesitate.